we continue with the High Five, the special mini-series spotlighting the insights of 5 standout marketers and app leaders who share their strategies for achieving success. And creative, of course, creative strategy is at the heart of success. That is why I'm going to give my high five to my guest, Peter Jung, Director of UA and Creatives at App Guardians. And you, Peter, you have been laser focused on how to compete in creatives for nearly a decade. So first of all, it's great to have you. And it's even better news because you haven't just brought yourself, you've come with a little bit of a gift. So first of all, good to have you.
Yeah, thank you. It's such an honor to be on this show. I know I've seen you around a lot in the mobile industry. I know it's been almost a decade I've been here, but yeah, I've seen you a lot on LinkedIn. And yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Well, it's great to talk with you, and thank you for noticing that. We've both been around for a decade plus. It's a big question, but I would like to understand, just starting with the core elements that set a strong creative strategy apart from all the rest.
Sure. Yeah, so I do have a gift that I will share later. It's a more of like a checklist mobile app advertisers can use, just to kind of go over in their ads to see if they have included all these different elements in that video. I highly suggest it. But before we get to that nitty gritty, I do want to say there's a generic overview, the core elements that you mentioned, that I would say is essential for running ads, and including in the video ads or even static ads as well. I would say it breaks down to 3 core elements. Number 1 being relevance, number 2 being novelty, and number 3 being clarity. So number 1 with relevance is that we want to ensure that the content that we're promoting through ads, of course, we're spending ad budget behind it. It needs to connect with the target audience. We can't just have random cat videos. You want to really nail down who your the user persona and the target audience before you actually start creating the ads itself. And we're gonna get to that later down as we talk in this podcast. And then number 2 is novelty. We want to capture attention, especially in this saturated market. There's new apps being added in the App Store every day. We really need to be able to stand out. And then number 3 is clarity. So we want to make sure that the person who ever sees the ad understands what are the next steps, what are the actions that we want the user to take. So we want to be clear cut. We want to dumb it down. We want to make sure that call to action is clear.
That's what I'm hearing so often now, more than before. It was always, yeah, have a CTA, but now it's like be very, very clear about that. That's changed a little bit. That's becoming very precise,
Yeah,
because that, not that it wasn't precise before, but something's happened. CTA is more important.
for sure.
So what happened? What happened to make that such an important element in the creative?
I mean, there's ways to definitely emphasize what as advertisers we want the users to do. Of course, I think what really led to the increase of that was with TikTok launching, and then they had many ways to be really creative with just like the text overlay. And what's changed was there would be like buttons like install now or like download now, right? And with TikTok entering the advertising market, there's way more call to action copies that advertisers can choose from. So I think that's changed. So there's ways to, in a way, soft sell what you're doing. So you're not hard selling like, oh, this is an app, this is a value prop, go get it. You know what I mean? It's more of a soft sell where you kind of integrate whatever you're promoting very like naturally and organically into the content. So you're focused more on the content and then soft selling, the app. So I think those two kind of roots here that people can test out.
So really, we're away from that install now, download now, start playing right now sort of thing. And to your point, it's a bit more subtle. So Peter, you're working with them. So I have to ask you, what are some interesting call to action, you know, ad copy opportunities and options? Because that's what's going to literally, clinch the deal. And I think that there's a lot of creativity just in figuring out that CTA.
There's, like I mentioned, the two different aspects of it: the indirect and then the direct. With the direct, there's many things you can do, and there's a lot of tools out there, um,
Yeah.
like CapCut, for example. What I like about it is that you can also use different like editing tool, which was a bit more sophisticated when I first started video editing, which is like the green screen effect, for example. So you can have a person talking like UGC style, and then just have the editor cut out all the background so that only the person kind of stands out in front of the background. So
Yeah.
why I'm mentioning this is because the direct call to action style or element that you can add is taking a screen recording of your app on the App Store, so people know what it looks like in the App Store. Because that's where usually in the funnel, if you think about the funnel, once a person clicks the ad, they go to the App Store, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're in a way kind of triggering a kind of a preview for what's coming, and you can do that in the call to action. So that's a good direct approach for a call to action, and I would say it's the simplest. If people are having are struggling with the call to action, you can just do that, right? I know it might look scrappy a little bit, but yeah, scrappy work, you know. That's what I've noticed through the decade of career experience, and that's I would say that's what I love about it as well in the creative side. You don't have to be so polished, and you'll see a bit later when I show you the examples of ads that has worked and not worked. We'll see some scrappy ads in there as well.
If we look back at the types of apps, it's also surprising that there are commonalities and differences between gaming and non-gaming apps. And
Sure.
you work with both.
Yep.
Um, and they have, it seems at first, they would have sort of unique creative guidelines. But I'm just wondering, do they? And are there challenges you face with each? Because the creative has to fit the different app, the different client types, the different user types.
There definitely is I would say, a challenge between the two, the gaming and non-gaming apps. Um, it's because, if you look at it in a very higher perspective, they have different user motivations and behaviors. For gaming, it's all about showcasing like the excitement and engagement of the gameplay, and for non-gaming, for the most part, the focus shifts to the utility and immediate value proposition. In terms of commonality, I would say the first 3 seconds for
Yeah.
any ad,
Yeah.
that's yeah, the hook, right? That's
Yeah.
something you can't ignore. I would say that really makes or breaks the ad itself.
The hook is always changing. That's the other thing. I mean, I was talking with another studio, game studio, and they were like, you know what? Even when we see that something isn't working, we still don't really toss it and get rid of it. We just put it, in storage and bring it out again because these creatives, these concepts, they change so quickly that it might not have worked, but it might work later. So just sort of keep it. Do you find that with yourself? I mean, how are you able to keep all of these different personas and ideas and keep them straight? I mean, is there a way to organizing the creatives that you're using internally that you can share that maybe our audience could learn from? Because you're
Yes,
organizing them according to use case and
that's right.
persona is what I'm hearing.
That's right. That's right. So I actually prepared a slide. I'll
Okay.
share it right now.
Yeah, let's do that. I want to know the answer to the question because you've got me interested now.
So this is a process that I follow for every new
Okay.
client that I work with, a new app, and even new concepts. So I'll break it down. It's a creative building sheet that I call. And what I'd like to do is actually print this out and then just start writing for each column here. So there's 5 columns. Number one being the user persona. I mentioned that we need to have the ads relevant to whoever our target audience is. So we want to organize who the users of the app is, who the users of the service or the product is, and we need to organize that in terms of user persona. We don't have to go like that. Like deep in detail, meaning like, oh, we don't need to know like, oh, this person is a certain age and may like XYZ, for example. We could just be very simple about, the user persona, more generic. It doesn't have to be like very narrow. That's what I mean. Because the more narrow we go into, it's going to be higher in cost. Unless the app is like very niche, we want to keep this relatively broad. Yeah, just a very kind of generic overview of who your target audience is and who you kind of foresee the users of the app to be.
Okay.
And then once you have that, we move to the pain points, what problem the users experience that they are seeking to find solutions for. So,
Okay.
this is more in line with non gaming because we can provide some type of utility or some type of a solution to a user's problem. So we want to write this, and for the most part, this would be where the value proposition of that utility that the app serves would be bullet pointed here in the pain points.
Right.
And the alternatives are what other solutions that users have sought out, and this could be competitive apps out there, competitor apps, or it might not even be an app. For example, it might be some physical service out there. So we want to put those as alternatives, and then the benefits. What are the results or tangible life changes of users from this app or product or service, right? The benefits, and then the features as well. So we mentioned the pain points and the value, the solutions that the app can provide. We have the benefits, but through what features are provided from the app that really serves these pain points and the benefits, right? So yeah, I like to organize this in any given moment where I'm creating new ads for a new client, a new app, and it really helps because number one, the user persona helps determine what type of copy that we want to be utilizing, what type of visual elements as well, because let's say, especially for the most part, I would say 80% of my video ads that I create are UGCs these days, so user generated content, and has a spokesperson, either doing different narrations or even creating telling a story, right? And why user persona is so important is because we want to showcase someone that parallels or mirrors the user persona listed here. So people even, I mean, I know this isn't exactly user acquisition, but even in the app store optimization aspect of it, the first 3 screens are the most important. And in the first screen, having a person there that kind of fits whoever the user persona is, or whoever the user persona longs to be. Like who, let's say if it's like a health app, for example, a person in the user persona that mirrors that user persona, but also is in the ideal state of that user persona. If they're presented in that first screen, it tends to increase conversion rates. So that's the same thing I would say for the ad aspect as well. And that's the first touch point of a prospect before they actually hear about the app. It's the ads that they see, right? So yeah, when it comes to user persona, we want to mirror that person, typically in the ideal state of that user persona, like who the user persona, who the target users long to be, right? We want to pick the creators of UGCs.
If I can restate that, is it's so important to understand the emotional value and the aspirational value of
Yeah.
this is also
Yes.
mirrored in the creative.
That's right.
I see the value of this app being X, and I want to see that sort of in practice, in action. And I'll see that through someone in UGC, an influencer who mirrors that.
Yes. That's
Mm-hmm.
correct. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. So I think that's important. And to your point, yeah, I think when it comes to influencers as well, they do a lot of research on the user persona. And yeah, it's if you
Yeah,
look at the followers, they usually mirror whoever, or at
absolutely.
least have that aspirational value that you mentioned. They want to be like that influencer, right? They follow
It
them for a reason. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's so important to get that fit right. This is already great advice, Peter. And I knew I would get it from you because that's what I was feeling the whole time. And you're like, oh, I'm going to come with lots of stuff to share because that's what it is. It's knowledge sharing. And you've come up with a gift as well because you have a checklist of
that's
key
right.
elements that you've seen work in ads. They are effective, such as a strong hook, call to action, all the rest of it. Let's just get into it. Let's just unwrap this. I'm excited to see it because it's going to be based on all of your experience and we're going
That's
to
right.
learn from that.
Yes, yes. So I have a checklist that I'm going to share after, but this is just the thought process. This is the creative formula, and this is what I've organized just throughout my career. And when I first, like I mentioned, when I was first looking into like the video analytics behind organic posts, I considered this very similar to fishing. I don't know if you've fished before, Peggy, but
You're a fisherman in my family. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So just like running creatives, running ads to get someone to download is very similar to fishing. Like you want to, fish more fish, right? And
Yes.
it's when it comes down to it, it's really three elements. When it comes to uh, attracting more fish, it's the bait, the hook, the reel, right?
Yeah.
And I would say these are the core elements when it comes to really capturing people's attention and bringing them to your app. So I will just quickly go over what's included in these three different elements, and then we'll go to the checklist. But
Okay.
yeah, the bait is to spark curiosity. It's an attention grabber. It's a wow factor. It's a reaction. It's a super factor. It's ASMR. So these are all elements to really stop people's thumb from scrolling and grabbing people's attention. And I know there's an extra one these days that I'm seeing online, and these are kind of wild transitions. I don't know if you've seen them on like Instagram Reels and like TikTok as well. These are like really like transitions in the first like 2-3 seconds of the video that gets people to watch. And there's also like a website where you can download all these elements. I'll actually go there right now. I think it's important for the viewers to see. It's a yeah,
Especially if I wasn't aware of that. So this is
yeah.
a little bit of a treat that there's a place where we can get all our transitions, a little bit of inspiration as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's called Transitional Hooks. It's a website where you can just download all these different transitions, and yeah, I saw that a lot of ads these days, or even organic videos, include these type of transitions in the beginning. It really gets people to like watch and get hooked into the first 2-3 seconds, right?
So let's say that I take some amazing transition. What
Yes.
do I do after that to keep that hook, to keep that vibe?
Yes. So after that initial bait, which is the attention grabber and then thumb
Right.
stopper, you want to follow up with still capturing that attention. You can't lose that attention once you have grabbed it. This is a great place to introduce your app, really showcase demonstrations. You
Mhm.
can also do it in like an entertainment type way. Any animations and humor and memes can work great here. This can be a bit hard to pull off. I would say the entertainment, animation, and the humor and memes
Yeah.
aspect of it can be very hard to
I was
pull
gonna say,
off.
Peter, you can try too hard and then it will.
Yeah, yeah, it might be a little cringy,
Yeah.
but this is when you really understand the audience, the target audience. If you really want to understand the target audience, you can also look into what your competitors are doing. You can look into their organic TikTok profile or Instagram profile to see if they're having any reels or content that's getting a lot of views. So you can get some inspiration there. But I would say that aspect is really what shapes the brand and really talks to and speaks to the target audience that you have, the user personas, right? But yeah, I mean, at this point, you do want to introduce the app in a very natural way, and yeah, just follow through because you got their attention, you don't want to lose that attention, but still at the same time, you can't be, not introducing what your core like ad is about or the value prop or the utility, because at that point people need to know what you're actually trying to sell, right? So yeah, there's that, and then at the end is the reel. Once you've actually hooked the fish, you need to pull it up and reel it to so that you can release it and let them go, or just keep them to eat, right? So I would say that's the call to action, and a good way to really reel in people towards the end of the video is to add social proof, adding reviews, actual reviews about the app. So you can put like 5-star review. If you have a lot of reviews, you could even, if you have a lot of reviews, yeah, you can mention like 5,000 reviews, 5,000 5-star reviews, for example. You can actually put that towards the call to action to really establish the authority. And then if you even have testimonials, that can work great. From testimonials from actual users that have gained value from your app, is a good place to put that as well in the call to action. And then this is the most important, I'll say, is the how to end goal. So how to meaning, so after I watch this video ad, like how do I get it, right? How do I download it, right? You have to dumb it down. As advertisers, like I said, it may be very obvious, but to the end users, whoever's watching the video, it might not be so obvious. So you want to be clear cut about how to download the app. Like I mentioned, you can add the background of the App Store screen recording. You can also even like put arrows, like down arrows, like a GIF, for example, on in the end of the video, which points to the call to action button, for example. Like you really want to guide the end users
Okay,
on
here,
where to get it. Exactly. Here,
no mistake.
just point down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So those are all these different ways to, I would say, the core elements when it comes to the creative formula.
You have to guide them through, and I mean to stay with
You
your
have to-
fish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Attention span is short, right? We have that famous, what is it, 9 seconds for a goldfish.
Yes,
So yeah, and you have to. Here it is.
that's
So
right. That's
continue with
right.
it. You've got some examples for us as well.
Yep.
Strong hooks. This is great. This is the cheat sheet,
This
Peter.
is the cheat sheet. Yeah, that's
This is
right.
it.
So the creative elements on the left, the strong hook, which is the 0 to 3 seconds. The first 3 seconds, it really makes or breaks the video ad. So it's a compelling visual or a statement that grabs attention immediately, acting as a thumb stopper. So, don't stress too much about this here, I would say, but try to test out multiple hooks. And a way you can do this is, I know in that creative sheet, we have the pain points, right? You can use these pain points as copy, for example, to see if the end users relate to any of these pain points, for example, right? So you can even ask direct questions as a strong hook, like, have you ever struggled with XYZ? These are pain points that the end users can relate with. So yeah, use those as strong hooks, right? We're not trying to be all that visual here. We want to simplify it. If we don't want you to struggle with it, but just test multiple hooks. The more experiments you do, the better. And you can test out multiple hooks, even if you have the remaining video be the same, right? So that's what I would say is the most important thing. And then the brand elements, early integration of brand elements to ensure viewers recognize the app. You can have all these nice hooks, but if they don't talk about your brand or whatever you're selling, the app itself, people are going to be confused. And then value proposition. We want to highlight why the app is unique and why users should install it. This is another important aspect of it. Whether it comes to non-gaming and gaming, we need to showcase the value proposition The emotional connection, any emotional triggers that connect with the audience, making the ad relatable and memorable. The call to action, I've emphasized this a lot throughout today's,
Yeah.
talk, but yeah,
Messaging
it's a
here. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
clear, direct way that
Correct.
guides users to do
Yeah.
what's next, right? Download now, learn more, be more specific as possible. Those five that I mentioned are the core elements when it comes to the creative checklist. And then the remaining three are kind of the honorable mentions. Or, I mean, I wouldn't say honorable mention, but they're kind of add ons. If you can include them, that'd be great. But it does require more specific editing as well, such as pattern interruptions. So these are unexpected elements or jump cuts to maintain viewer engagement and interest. So what I mean by this is you can have someone talk as like a UGC content, just talk over a script and talk about the benefits, talk about the brand elements, the value proposition, the emotional connection, but it might be boring, right? You might lose viewer retention that way. So pattern interruptions are good ways to keep a person engaged in the video and keep watching the video. So these are jump cuts, meaning every 5 seconds you want to cut to something else, like a B-roll, for example, or even have a person speaking in a different environment, right? And these are pattern interruptions that really help people watch through the end of the video. So I think that's important. Another element, testimonial social proof. Any user reviews or endorsements to build credibility and trust among potential users. I think that's also another add-on. And then optimization for format and platform. Make sure that creative is tailored to specific platforms and formats and the placement and user experience. For example, like TikTok requires the 916 vertical videos. With like Instagram feed and Facebook feed, the longest you can make it is 4 or 5. So make sure to pay attention to that.
Really, really helpful. And I like the idea about the extras because if we get ambitious, we can say, yeah,
Yeah,
pattern
yeah,
interruption. I'm going to go for the quick cuts. I'm going to do this. So we have, so to speak, the elements, right? So
that's
we
right.
have the insights. We've unwrapped that part of it. Now let's switch it up because I'm excited to see this all in action. You know, what happens when you mash it all together and we can actually go through some of these. So you've brought real life examples. So you have gone out into the wild, brought back some ad examples, some that crushed it, some that didn't.
Yep.
And yeah, we're going to play that game. We're going to talk about the high performers, break it down, and match it against your checklist. So let's do it. Let's do it,
Let's do
Peter.
it.
I'm
Okay.
looking forward to this. I'm also very intrigued to see what you brought along. So let's do it.
Okay.
I'm
Gotcha.
ready.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I will
right.
be your guinea pig. Let's see if I
Okay.
can pick out the good ones from the bad
Okay.
ones. Okay, I'll stop that for a moment. Come back to you, Peter.
Yep.
I would say definite transition at the start. So
Yes.
they went on to, what was it, transitions.com.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I
Yeah.
got that. That gets points for that.
Yep.
Play now. There's no question.
Yes.
So it has the elements. How did it do?
Yeah. So this was successful.
Okay.
I would say, that transition in the beginning worked very nicely.
Mhm.
And in the gameplay as well, there's some type of a very satisfying element when it's like a Tetris game, and
Yeah.
when it comes down and then like breaks the bricks and it just clears out. There's a very satisfying element to that as well. So there's that, and then just as you mentioned, the call to action was very clear. So
Mhm.
yeah, good
That's an
video.
interesting point because I remember doing a lot of I'm fascinated by player types. It's the psychology of it. And, there is a type called the completionist. So yeah, it is kind of satisfying that it actually fits
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
works. And it's just like, yes, there's order and good in the
Yes.
universe. I get that. Okay. So went through the checklist. It checked out. Fine. Let's go to the next one.
Looking for a language partner? Then that's the app for you. It's called Tandem, and it's an excellent tool to connect with language enthusiasts from all over the world. And Tandem did a great job adding so many features. Correct messages. If the other person made a mistake, for example, you can also comment. So if just like me, you want to find thousands and thousands of people to speak with, then you know what to do.
So the UGC works, right?
Sure. Sure.
Comes right up with that pain point. You're looking for somebody, that's the pain point. I need someone to speak my language. So yeah, I see where it rates on the checklist.
Yep.
Tick some boxes. How did it turn out?
Not so well. I would say number one is the call to action. It wasn't really there. It was just like, you know what to do.
It wasn't even on the
That's what he
video.
said.
Actually.
I don't know what to do. He mentioned you know what to do. There's that, and then also, I don't know if you saw in that there's a bit of captions and subtitles in this video, but it's in a very different language. You know how he's speaking English, but the captions, I don't know what exactly.
I was wondering about that one. It was,
Yeah.
And it wasn't very clear. I thought, okay, I get the idea. He's definitely got, the pain point covered, but I could have been anywhere. That could have been a soccer app, actually.
Exactly.
I get it. And there isn't a call to action. In fact, it cut off at one. Maybe that's us, but it doesn't grab me. It doesn't grab me. We'll go on to the next one. This is fun, by the way, Peter. It's
That's great.
It's a game show. I think we've got something here. We just come back every time, have a game show, and do this. Go down your checklist, and then we have prizes. But
for sure.
Let's see what we have here.
If you are like me, you hold on to every single receipt. That's why I use the Simply Wise app. You can scan, categorize, and file away any document on your phone in seconds. So finding any document is super easy. You just type in CVS or lunch with Lisa, and the app instantly pulls up your receipt. Another really cool feature of the app is that you can export a copy of your receipts into a spreadsheet with totals by category. I used to waste countless hours at tax time. Not anymore.
On a little bit of a discount here at the end, a little bit of a sale inside a sale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would say, not being you, Peter, we have some quick cuts. We know what we're doing. We have the pain point. It's informative. I mean, it's a utility app. It's not going to be super fun.
Yes.
Got to the point, and I know what I need to do. And I have a little bit of a teaser at the end that I've got, my sort of my special offer. Not amazing, but it covers all the bases. What would you say?
I 100% agree. It covers everything that we have mentioned.
Do well, right? That was
but it didn't do well.
It
didn't do well, and I think part of that is because they could have done a bit more in terms of when she's speaking, we could have added some visual elements like showcasing a screen recording of what it looks like to upload something. Right? That's number one. And I did mention earlier that you can't just bore the ad viewer, right? She's just talking in front of a camera, and that's great. Everyone's using UGCs, right? Everyone's using a person to narrate and talk over the value prop of an app, right? So it might not be as relatable as we think it is. So I think they could have made some more changes there, and then also maybe they could even add B-roll of the person actually using it, right? Like a POV version, right? Like a third person shot of that person utilizing that. And I know she talks about like receipts and stuff. Like maybe we even include like a footage of her like piling up a lot of receipts and like her going through like some pain, right? She's like, oh, I have so many receipts, really visualizing that pain point instead of just talking about it in front of the camera, right?
Okay, I got it. Definitely could be better. Could be better background, B-roll.
Trick question, video. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So we agree on that one. Let's do another one.
How to trick your brain that you're on vacation, sort of.
Now this is how we vacay in the modern age with games like Blockscape Paradise. Literally, I'm 3 seconds in and I already can tell this is going to be a relaxing yet invigorating tropical adventure. The goal in adventure mode is to solve puzzles and unlock fun pictures of your character Tully in vacation mode. With these epic puzzles that combine vibrant visuals, I mean just look at these colors. An addictive block breaking sequence, I'm easily gonna play this game until level 100 or more. It's literally like I found a paradise of color, sound, and exciting challenges for my brain. But the chill and serene vibes are enough to escape the paradise.
A little bit torn on that one. I see it covers all the bases, but it might have taken us a little far away. I'm not sure.
Yeah, good point. So what I liked about this one was that they broke down the content into two, with the spokesperson on top and then the gameplay in the bottom. And that's kind of a trend that we see on TikTok as well. With the attention span being very low, people watch two videos at once. It's kind of a streamer format, right? And yeah, this one did pretty well as well.
So I did like the idea that I could follow it. I still had him. I had a humorous start. So I thought definitely covered the bases, but I wasn't sure because I thought another one covered the bases and it didn't do so well. So good to know. This worked. So that tells us something as well, Peter, that we can have two videos at once.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is what it is, right?
That's right.
Video
That's
is
right.
everything.
You gotta follow the trend.
It's true. So let's try another one.
Hey Sarah, do you know the difference between a rich person and a poor person?
What is it?
All right, check this out. Hey Virginia, do you play slots games?
Obviously, yeah, why?
And do you have to buy anything to win?
I often have to, yes.
See, most slots games require purchases and you never hit a single jackpot. These are all fake slots games. You'll definitely end up poor if you play what she's playing.
Okay, then what's a rich person?
Hey Chris, show your slots game. Sure, here it is.
Oh, let's try spinning it. Whoa, look at that. How did we get the jackpot so quickly? What game is this?
Oh, Cash Tornado Slots. It's a Vegas-style game with incredible slot machines, great in-game features, and massive bonus rounds.
You'll hit a jackpot in just 10 spins. You can win so much more just by playing this game for 10 minutes. You can even win a jackpot of 10 trillion coins every day.
Where can I download it? I need to play it right now.
Just click the link below to download it, and the next jackpot could be yours.
Interesting start. I mean, that's a good question. That'll get your attention. What does a rich person look like? What does a poor person look like? Would have rather seen more of the game though. Also when they said like, hey Chris, what does it look like? All right. But then they came in with some gameplay. Original, maybe not the fastest editing. Where did it land, Peter?
Yeah, this one's a good one as well. I think what really helped this was the build-up from the kind of the storytelling, the actual gameplay. But yeah, I do agree with you that the gameplay should have been introduced earlier. There was, I think the storyline was a bit too long, and this would work usually better for like the ad networks that require you to watch like the 30 seconds instead of like the thumb stopper type like the
That's
social.
a very good point because you do want some that people don't stop watching because we have rewarded ad platforms, and the whole idea is that you watch all of it. So
you're forced to watch it. So in a way, there's still kind of entertaining you because you watch so many ads as like the rewarded videos. The 30 seconds you're kind of forced, but you might as well make it entertaining. So even though you're forced, you're watching something with a storyline.
Absolutely. And it was real. It was believable. It looked like when I would hang out with some of my relatives in Pittsburgh, where I'm from, and we all sit around with our flannel shirts at the dining room table. It looks real. Looks definitely real.
Very nice job, of making it natural.
Definitely looks like the Berg. Definitely looks like the Berg. Just being funny. But okay, let's try this one. If you can hit a key, you can buy crypto. Get started at Coinbase. All right. Different. Was it effective? I mean, I get it, but I don't quite know anything about Coinbase or the app and crypto. So was it
Yeah,
just a get my attention type of thing, or was it effective?
it's not effective.
Good, I don't feel so bad because it
There's
was
a
like,
lot of budget behind this video.
whoa.
So I just I want to showcase this to show that it's not always about making videos polished. You don't even need to have high quality cameras. Yeah.
I was
So
wondering, I mean, I thought it was, wow, this is polished. I mean, just after seeing the guys at the dining room table, and then I've
yeah,
got this, I'm like, whoa, this has got to be something. So how ineffective is ineffective here? Can you put some numbers on that? I'm just
yeah.
curious.
If you look into ad performance, the budget is high, and then the click through rate is top 58%, which is not good. We want to be like in the top 10%.
Oh, this down
And
here, this is what I'm seeing, right?
yeah. So there's a big drop off
There is.
after the first like 2 seconds or
Yeah,
whatnot.
you're
This
waiting
is
for it to sing, actually.
not a very good sign. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was actually going to be something like, The Voice or those shows
Mm,
that look for look for singers.
that's right.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, okay. But even budget has its limits, and particularly if it bombs, it's just not good for the brand. Okay, Peter, let's face it. That was something that was showing us creative in
Yep.
action. Had lots of fun. I'd do it again. I do it again. Have you back just for that. But of
Yeah.
course, you have to think about the performance and the metrics. So we looked at the one. I mean, Coinbase was a shocker. High budget, low effectiveness, low performance. But metrics, they're not the average metrics. I mean, there's different metrics. For example, the sort of like the non-traditional metrics or qualitative insights. What do you look at to understand ad performance beyond just those numbers, the high and then the CTR?
I would say I look into the conversion rate, and this is sometimes a lot of people miss. It's the people that actually click on the ad, and then the percentage of people that actually download from the App Store. So this could be a great way to showcase the connection between the ad and whatever content you have on the App Store. You want to make sure that you're staying above at least a 35% or 40% conversion rate. So that's the
Okay.
click to install rate. So I think that's super important to showcase the connection and the relevancy from the ad to the App Store as well. And then I don't know if you consider this like traditional or not traditional, but I would say hook rate and then the hold rate is also important as well. And then this is the percentage. The hook rate is the percentage of viewers who watch past the initial few seconds. That could be 3 seconds, for example, to see if your hook is working. And then the hold rate is typically usually 15 seconds that you can calculate it as, but it's the percentage of viewers who watch the ad beyond the hook, and then you can calculate it for either 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And it's really thinking about out of all the people who stop scrolling to see your ad, how many people actually finish the video. So that's the two measurements that I'm looking into to see if an ad is doing great or not. But yeah, I would say I would focus on those.
So we have benchmarks there. So we know about the seconds and we know what we have to look at. And that's really helpful for ad performance. Let's talk about the ad experience, right? This is where AI adds value. I mean, be honest, Peter, you're probably using it as well, co-creating with AI. Am I correct? We all are, right?
Yep.
I am, thankfully, getting some ideas there. But where does it add the most value in, say, for example, creative testing or where it's adding that? Because
Sure.
it's enhancing the ad experience, adding more value. But the question, I guess, is where?
Yeah, I would say it's copywriting. I would say that's number one. It's fantastic at copywriting, and it's
I
sometimes
agree. I used it for a couple
yeah,
newsletters
it's
as well.
great.
Yeah,
It
I
comes
got
up with copy that's like unimaginable. I mean, I used to write copy myself before, but yeah, it just comes out with things that I would have never thought of, and which has helped me save a lot of time. Even though I take that manual creative building approach with the slide that I showed you before with the checklist and then organizing the user persona and all those things, I also have a process that I use with AI. It's a prompt, right? And there's some places that I need to just fill and organize accordingly with the clients that I have in that prompt. But once we just tweak that aspect in that prompt, it generates kind of an organized, creative strategy with AI. So they come up with user personas, they come up with different hooks and pain points. And I have this prompt if you want. And I guess, just to increase the engagement of this video, whoever comments the word AI, I can send it to them, or you can send it to them as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Like that, we'll have a little call to action. It'll be like,
Call to action, exactly.
comment on this video and you will get the prompt. I mean, that is awesome. That is very good of you, Peter. Most people don't share, but maybe it's a thing about you that you're freely sharing so many tips.
Yeah.
And now the prompt. I mean, what could we hope for more? So I'm gonna be a little bit shameful here because I was gonna say your one last piece of advice, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it's clear. Looking at shaping the future of creative strategy in UA. One piece of advice for companies who want to stay ahead, what is the secret, I guess, to staying innovative in this space? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say it's really understanding content, I think is important. And having a mix of organic content, of course, it can be an investment. But if you're going to work on the app and really focus on the branding aspect of it, you want to have a mix of organic content and paid content, so paid ads and paid media. In order to do this, just spend some time scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, right? Of course, you might think it might be just a waste of time, but just come and approach it in a very like investment and learning type of aspect when you're looking into these videos, and save those videos when you're scrolling. Some videos that inspire you or catch your attention. And I think that's really the way to stay ahead because, in this very saturated market, you need to understand what people are watching and you need to stay native to each platform that you're advertising on. And if you're just coming up with stuff that, pertains to the checklist that I mentioned, that might not cut it, right? Of course, you can follow those elements and check off all these different things that you have added in the video. But if it's not relevant holistically overall to whatever people is watching online, you won't really be able to efficiently convert these people. So yeah, I would say take some time. I enjoy watching Instagram reels. Of course, it's just to kill time, but also at the same time, I'm also researching in a way. So I would say it's a good time spent if you're researching and actually using it for work.
I was going to say, someone asks you, Peter, what am I doing? I am doing work. I am watching this. This is
That's right. Yeah. You're working. You might be doom scrolling, but you're working. So yeah, go at it. If you're in the office, open the Instagram app, open TikTok, start scrolling. And if they say something, you're just investing and you're researching.
Yes, and researching. You've got a dream job, Peter. What can I say?
That's
and
right.
I have to say that I really enjoyed this. This was amazing. You came, you informed and entertained us. That isn't too often. And you kept me going. And we have a prize at the end as well for people who comment. So yes, they will want to connect with you again, Peter. I want to connect with you again, right? Yeah. It's a given. So they want to connect. They want to comment. I want to do the same. I know how to reach you. I got you on the show. But if they want to connect with you, what's the best way?
Sure. I have my LinkedIn. You can just search me, Peter Jung, Peter, and then Jung.
Okay.
You can also look up App Guardians, app, and then it's Guardians, Guardians. And then if you want to connect me on more of a personal level, you can also DM me on Instagram as well. It's peterjung.ai. So yeah, you can just find me.
You'll be there working.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, this has been amazing. I don't know if this is the right way to end it, but I will say that for us, subscribe to the show, share it with your network, share it with your tribe. You can see that this is full of pure gold insights. And of course, stay tuned for the App Growth Show. We've got more coming. It's high five. You are number 3 in the series. More to come from the biggest minds in mobile from our High Five series. Of course, the biggest minds with the biggest bottom line results, because that's what you've been doing, Peter. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.